So, Wuthering Waves 2.5 is almost over, and then we'll be moving on to Wuthering Waves 2.6. So I wanted to take some time to talk about the good and bad of 2.5. We will talk about the story of 2.5, the new area, the events, the TOA reset, Whimpering Wastes, and Frolova. So the best part about the story was easily learning about Frolova's tragic backstory and then learning that Rover knew her in the past before he wiped his memory at some point. And then learning because of the fact that Rover broke their promise to Frolova, that, I'll be honest, drove her into the arms of the Fraxidus, therefore creating the Frolova that we know now. And I'm not going to get into theories about what would have happened otherwise if he did remember his promise, but the whole story from the beginning of 2.5 to the end where you're fighting Fenrico tells you where to go and where the source of the anomaly is, that it's in Septimont, to Frolova and Rover fighting, Rover killing Frolova to try to get the gem, and then Cristoforo showing up and stealing a gem and doing a little laugh as he teleports away with it. It just maintains a level of pure cinema on the levels of 2.4 and 2.2. I think it's not worse than 2.0. I think I would rate it to be 2.0, 2.5, 2.2, and 2.4, as in the best stories in Wuthering Waves, and that's how I would tier it. Because 2.0 is fantastic, but it doesn't really hit the beats that 2.2, 2.4, and 2.5 hit, but that does not make it bad. So, really, 2.2 or 2.0, ever since the release of that, has just been top tier storytelling from Kuro Games, and I think 2.5 will be remembered as the best in Wuthering Waves, along with 2.2 and 2.4. So I would really rate the story a solid 8.5, maybe 9 out of 10, because of the fact that they killed off a playable character, and they did make a lot of people cry. That was funny to see. But yeah, overall, I would rate the story of 2.5 as a solid 8.5 out of 10. Because it hits so many emotional beats, it tells a fantastic backstory. The villain is great, Fenrico. I love how he turns back to the good as he dies, giving us one final hint. It's just fantastic to see. Up next is the new area that came in 2.5. This is going to be different for a lot of people, but I really like the fact that it was smaller areas that you could teleport in between. But I do understand how some people wouldn't like that. Now, I really like the color palette that they used for the new areas. It was so beautiful, walking out and seeing all the water and the fish flying through the air, swimming through the air. It was just fantastic. I really liked the aesthetic of the buildings, the Fraxidus stuff. I hope to see more of it in future updates for Wuthering Waves, because it's just great seeing actual proper buildings, not fantasy stuff that we see in 2.0. Because I really did like the building design in the 1.0 areas. It was nice to see because it gave the post-apocalyptic vibe that Renacida really doesn't give. But I understand if it's going to be different for some people. Now, exploration for the 2.5 area is a lot better to me than the exploration of the regular Renacida areas, because in the regular Renacida areas, there is a bit of an issue with just empty space with nothing in it, but it's really not that big of a problem because of the fact that you can fly. Now, in the 2.5 area, you can't fly, so you really don't run into the issue because there really isn't that much empty space like there is in the bigger areas. So it is a lot nicer to explore in 2.5. Now, but it does have the same old issue that Wuthering Waves has with its exploration. Once you explore everything, there's no point in walking around the map and just looking at stuff because you've already done everything, unless you want to just go fight enemies in Echo Farm. But regardless of that, I would rate the area that 2.5 gave us as a solid 7.5. I would rate it higher if there was more activities to do, because I finished the exploration like an hour. If I can remember properly, I think it was like an hour or something. It was really quick. I do wish there was more to explore, but regardless, I'd rate it a solid 7.5. The area was really solid, and I do hope to see more of it with just more stuff in it to do. So we're going to move on to the nightmare nests. I really wish they didn't add it because it sucks. I have grown to hate it ever since it got added, being the only way to get the full echo set that Frolova needs to function is ridiculous. It doesn't give you any tuners, no echo XP materials. Why would they think that is a good idea to make it give none of those required materials that you need to level up the echoes you get from it? Now, I understand you can get the tuners from other tacit fields, but what's the point of not having it give you any when you're doing the damn nest? They should have just made it cost the regular amount of wave plates and have it give you 10 echoes of random ones for the set, tuners and echo XP materials, and there would be no problem with the nightmare nest. But no. It's just baffling to me that they didn't think that through, or that they just willingly made it like that, because the way I would fix it is to make it either cost wave plates so that it gives out echo XP materials and echo tuners, or just make it to where it gives them regardless, even if it doesn't cost wave plates. That's how I would fix it. And I'm not excited for the fact that most likely the 2 new 3-piece sets are going to be given throughout guess what, another Echo Nightmare Nest that they're said they're doing in 2.6, and I hope to God that they're going to change it to where it actually gives you materials that you can use on the echoes that you get. Otherwise, building Augusta and Yuno is going to suck ass like it did for building Frolova. It is really my hope that they do something about that, because the echo nests are easily the worst part of 2.5, or the singular one in 2.5. It is easily the worst part of 2.5. So for this next part of the video, we're going to talk about the events in 2.5. Now, the only event that I actually liked was the painting one, the Dreaming Overflow event. That was the only event I liked in 2.5. I did not like the Echo Management event, and I still think Dreaming Deep kind of sucks, if I'm being completely honest. It's way too easy, there's no challenge whatsoever, and it's just boring to complete. But that's Dreaming Deep, and it's always been like that, even with the changes that they did. So, the Echo Management event. Some people will like it, obviously, but I am not one of those people. I do understand that some people would like to see that type of stuff in the future. Now, I'm not opposed to seeing another event like that, but they need to have an event like that alongside a combat event, because the events in 2.5 are really boring, especially when you complete the Dreaming Overflow event, because it takes like 30 minutes to do if you have half a brain. So, the main event is the Echo Management, and really, as I said, they should have ran it with a combat event, or at least have a proper combat event. Hell, I would have been happy if they brought back Virtual Crisis, because Virtual Crisis is one of the best events that Wuthering Waves has. I mean, I keep hearing about the hologram boss rush, but I never got the chance to play that event because I wasn't playing gacha games at that time because I had taken a break from them. So, if they had a combat event for 2.5, I think I would rate the events a lot better, because the events that were there were just not that good, especially the Echo Management. I thought it really sucked. I mean, of course, they had the pictures of the past event thing where you can take pictures throughout the new area, but that takes 10 minutes to do. I really wouldn't count that event. It's just an extra couple hundred asteroids, but I don't think I'm going to get the extra rewards from the Echo Management because it sucks so much. I really don't like it. I would hope they change it to be less annoying. But I would like to see the Dreaming Overflow event, or the picture event, where you color match the stuff. I can't remember the name of it, but I would like to see another one of those with more puzzles like that, because I do enjoy it. But overall, I'd say the events are like really not that good. They're holding back the patch a lot, because I would really like to see more combat events. And it doesn't seem like in 2.6 we're getting a combat event, so I'm a little disappointed about that. But regardless, I'd say the events as a whole, I'd rate it a solid 6 out of 10 if I'm being honest, because there's no combat events and the mainstay event of the Echo Management just really wasn't that good, if I'm being honest. So yeah, that's what I'd rate the events, a solid 6 out of 10. There's really not much to say about the TOA reset other than that it's a lot easier than it was in the previous cycle. I don't really know what they changed, but it seems like they reduced the HP and the buffs are actually really nice. I managed to somehow clear Floor 4 with Frolova and Jinxie and Cantarella. I really don't know how I did that, but for some reason when you go through Frolova and Cantarella's full abilities, Jinxie will have a full charge for her nuke ability, and it's just kind of funny. But yeah, I was actually able, this time for the first time, to almost get 30 stars on it, which I've actually never done before, which is really funny. So I think they did really well with this TOA reset. I never could get that close. Like the max I could get before this was like 20 something star, like in the low 20s, like maybe 20 max whenever I try TOA. But other than that, I'm happy with the TOA reset, and I can't wait for the more floors coming in 2.6, but that's not about 2.5. But regardless, I was actually able to almost completely clear both sides, actually, of TOA. I don't know what they did, but it's a lot easier on both sides. So yeah. Now we're going to move on to Wuthering Waves. I don't know what they did. It seems like everything is tankier and the buffs suck ass unless you have the fusion team. Because it seems like that the majority of the gold buffs, the 2 out of 3, are meant for Augusta and, or other characters, because the highest I could get was 2,500, and that was on one side with my fusion team with Lupa and Chang-Li. That's the highest I could get, and the highest I could get with the other side with multiple teams, with my Cardathea team, my Frolova team, and my Zani team, I could barely get like 1,300 on that side. I don't know what they did, but that's just the lowest score I've gotten in Wuthering Waves. It feels like they just inflated the HP to high hell, and that the buffs just suck for 2 of them out of 3. It's just odd, and I hope they fix that in the next reset. I do have faith that they will fix it, but overall, the new reset for Wuthering Waves is a 5 out of 10, obviously, but the TOA reset, because I was able to complete it so well, I'd say it's a solid 7, 8 out of 10. I'm very happy I was able to get all those rewards from it. Now we're going to talk about Frolova as a character and how she is to play. She feels actually pretty good to play. I like her whole requiring 0 energy for her ult, and the fact that she has 2 different ult animations, or not animations, 2 facial expressions in her ult. And it's just her pattern that you use her E and basic attack combo, or if you do a certain combo of music notes, she'll have a smiling face, more psychopathic face, and then a sad face during her ult animation. I really do like that you can swap out with another character in the middle of her ult, and she still does her ult and everything, and then when you switch back to her, you can get a music cue of when she's ready to end her ult, and she'll nuke the ground with the final explosion of damage. I think it's fantastic, and I hope to see more characters that utilize that type of ult, because it's just great to see, and I love seeing that type of stuff where they get creative with ults, because Frolova does have one of the cooler ults in the game. Now, I think she's going to be beat out by Augusta's ult, but that's a different subject for later. But regardless, Frolova feels fantastic to play. I love that her idle animations, she plays music and that type of stuff, and has a dance with Hectate. She just overall feels as one of the best characters, but there is a bit of an issue that I saw, that when you're using her with like Roshia and another Havoc character, and if they're all doing abilities at the same time, it can be kind of hard to see attacks, and if a boss or an enemy does a parryable attack, you might not see it because of the pure amount of just effects on screen, but that's such a minor thing. Frolova is just a fantastic character to play, and she just feels great. Now, in regards to the patch overall, from the story to the events and Frolova as she plays, I would rate it a solid 7 out of 10, but if the story wasn't as good as it was, I would probably rate the patch a 4 or 5 out of 10 because of the lack of combat events and just how lackluster the events were this patch, because really there's only what 3 events that you could do: the Dreaming Overflow, the Echo Management event, and the minor events that come throughout the patch. It's just they're so lackluster in events that it really holds back the patch from getting a higher rating, like a 9 or 8 out of 10. Because the story carries so much of the patch, it is really ridiculous, because they have to know that people want combat events. It's just odd to me that they're not including any of them. I mean, hell, they probably could have took one of the combat events from 2.4 and put it in 2.5, and it would have been a lot better. But the main thing is, it's just the events were just so lacking. No combat events, and just the echo management just wasn't that for me. The patch is a solid 7 out of 10. As I said, if the story wasn't as good as it was, it'd be a 4 or 5 out of 10. But regardless, I expect 2.6 to be a lot better, and I'm very excited for it with the whole tower defense mode, but that's obviously another video another time. But regardless, overall, I would rate the patch a solid 7.5 out of 10. Because it's a solid patch. It sits up there right behind 2.2 and 2.4. It sits above 2.0 for me, because I didn't really get to do any of the events in 2.0, so I can't really give it a higher rating. But it may be different for other people, and I understand that. But for me, it sits in between 2.0 and 2.2 for a rating. But regardless, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you like the video, like it and subscribe. I'm going to keep making more videos. And thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.